reach the top somehow.
Yes, my Straight Dog family, don't you stop or start to ponder, because I'm here, a little bit tardy, But it's time for me to say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. It's time for me to say good night to the world and to welcome all to another edition of Straight Talk. And for those who are joining me for the first time, I say welcome and hope and trust it won't be your last time. So I say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis, good night, Caribbean, good night to the world. And I know that you are in the Kittitian and Nevian diaspora all around the globe. So I am at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And for those who are joining me for the first time, welcome again. And I hope and trust it would not be your last time. And for all of you who are connected to Straight Talk, just remember, if you love it, tell it to the whole wide world. If you do not, please come tell it to me. But for the first time, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of consciousness, national, international, regional. We try to raise the level of discourse by alerting our people in particular to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And I always hasten to pledge as your host to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I always wish to assure you that on this program, absolutely nothing is watered down. We never try to make it more interesting, neither by omission nor by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about excitement. It's not about sensationalism. Because we cannot do that, especially at the expense of accuracy. Because we lean on the facts, as it is my bounden duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, accountability in St. Kitts and wherever you are, my Straight Talk family, because we are joined together, not just with people across the Federation. We are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know very well and have met. Others we do not know, and many we will never meet, physically that is. And some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk. Some obviously would disagree, because we are a different people. We facilitate different views, a diversity of views I call it, and that's fine. But please, it would sadden me if we ever start to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God for blessing us and helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So let's therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing his praise together. Welcome again, my Straight Talk family, and thanks for those who continue to share the link. I always remind you, and especially for the first timers, that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. There's some who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, and we give you access via our email platform. That address is also on your screen. It's one word, straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. Straight Talk is also heard on Alexa. For those who have that app, just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. And how can we forget ever that some of you have made donations, and please don't stop making those donations to support our efforts here on Straight Talk. And for that I say, merci beaucoup, muchas gracias, a big thank you. I must also reassure you that no matter the level of your contribution, and don't you stop, it helps. We need to continue this important service, yes, a public service. And others who never or have not donated and wish to donate can simply scan that code, beg your pardon, on your screens to access a payment form. Very simple process. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And a special welcome, we will never forget our junior brigade, the future, the tomorrows. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, Neymar, are you sleeping, grandson? And Soraya, haven't seen her for some time. And that special lady in St. Louis. I've been communicating with the Queen over there in Texas as well. Our observations in review is an integral part of this program. And after our observations, we will begin our thesis for tonight, which I have titled, Jew the Muttering Idiot, 30% Missing. So please do not change that link, just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, YouTube, Facebook, and Alexa. But on a sad note, we confirm the passing of Edwin Warner, a former principal of the DFP Primary School, a former FIFA referee and very good friend and colleague of mine. Edwin also served for several elections as returning officer for St. Christopher 6, I do recall. I learned that he died in England and would be buried there in a few weeks from now. In the meantime, on behalf of the Straight Talk family and my own, I do hereby extend profound condolences to all who are left to mourn his loss, particularly his sister Francine Warner, living there in the USA. So may Edwin's soul rest in eternal peace. For our first observation, we want to make an announcement as well by the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism. Its secretariat announced the appointment of Dr. Thomas Mark Williams of St. Kitts and Nevis as its new executive director with effect from Monday gone, the second day of June 2025. Mark, as he is affectionately known to all of us in St. Kitts and Nevis, served for many years as Director of Marine Resources in St. Kitts until the change of government in August 2022. And the Terence Michael Drew administration began its victimization reign, or its reign of victimization. And Mark's story, I believe, has biblical proportions to those familiar with the book of Psalms, in particular chapter 118, verse 22, which reads, and I like the King James Version, the stone which the builders refuse is become the headstone of the corner. And Mark for Terence Michael Drew and Samuel Duggins was deemed unfit to continue leading the blue economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But as fate will have it, he will now lead the charge for providing technical, consultative, and advisory services to 17 Caribbean member states and spearhead bilateral and international engagements for the region. Straight Talk therefore congratulates Mark Williams, Dr. Williams, as he's known, on his new appointment and wish him success as he endeavors to advance the fisheries and aquaculture sector of the entire region. Our second observation, I consider it a confession by our failed leader who spoke about the criterion or criteria for determining failed governments. And one of the criteria, or a criterion, let me get that right, for establishing a failed government, he said, is this.
Cannot do it without water. And any government that can't deliver water to its people is a failed government.
And that is so true. What a confession. Because for almost 2 years, this government cannot deliver water to its people. All of these tanks you can see on your monitors there. And this is happening for over a year, going on for 2 years. Buckley's Extension, Buckley's Housing Development, Buckley's Park, College Housing, Pine Gardens, Shalville East, West, and Shalville proper, Taylor's and Wade's Garden. Only get water from 4 to 9 in the morning and from 5 to 7 in the evening. And that still goes on as we speak. And it's sometimes more than that. You've seen the latest schedule for the island-wide rationing. The Straight Dog family continues right around the entire island. In my neck of the woods, by 8:30, 9 o'clock, water will be gone. So Drew is perfectly correct when he said this.
I want to also say that I visited the Kim Collins Stadium.
I'll take that back, my Straight Dog family. He would be so correct having said this before he said this.
Cannot do it without water. And any government that can't deliver water to its people is a failed government.
So he has confessed that his administration has failed. Confession is good for the soul. And I went ahead of myself and I was playing this video for you as well, my Straight Dog family.
It's complete. I think you all should go there and see it. It's complete now. And I want to really thank the Minister responsible for sports, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, for his tremendous work. He came under heavy fire. Heavy fire. Can you imagine he came under heavy fire correcting something that was not done? Now that this track is complete, I want to know what will be the next talking point. So I want to congratulate the Honorable Samuel Duggins on such a tremendous feat. I want to also say that I visited the Kim Collins Stadium this morning as well. And it's basically completed. The track is complete. I think you all should go there and see it. It's complete now. And I want to really thank the Minister responsible for sports, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, for his tremendous work. He came under heavy fire. Heavy fire. Can you imagine he came under heavy fire correcting something that was not done? Now that this track is complete, I want to know what will be the next talking point. So I want to congratulate the Honorable Samuel Duggins on such a tremendous feat.
Tremendous feat. But in fact, he's congratulating Duggins for his continuing mediocrity. Because the truth is, you haven't had international or inter-school championships in St. Kitts for some time. They've been to Nevis. And it's the first time in our history, unless the inter-school championships, primary and secondary school championships, were held to the back of the land. And I didn't know, but I'm sure it's the first time, I stand to be corrected, that we've never had inter-school championships or championship amongst the schools, both primary and secondary school, ever in our history. I'm trying to remember when that happened before. So all Terence Michael Drew is doing is congratulating another failure, Samuel Duggins, was failing the schools. He is failing the creative sector. What else? He's been failing in agriculture. What else? What other sector in which he'll fail? But those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And we just bring you the facts. And I move right into my thesis tonight. As I mentioned earlier, I have titled my thesis tonight, Drew the Muttering Idiot, 30% missing. And my Straight Talk family, a friend of mine from within the region, but who follows our politics very closely, called me on Tuesday afternoon and asked me if we use the term village idiot in St. Kitts and Nevis. And my response to him was, not really, because I can't recall we do use this term village idiot. But in the process, I asked my friend why. So he told me that he had just listened to our Prime Minister's round table, and that is the only conclusion he arrived at, having followed Dr. Drew since he assumed the office of Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, going on to almost 3 years ago. This is not science, my friend continued, but in every village in my country, there is someone who is considered the village idiot. As our conversation continued, I began to reflect on my days growing up here in St. Kitts. And there were characters like Charlie Breadfruit and Govans, who would at times behave as if they suffered from some form of mental illness, especially when they were under the influence of alcohol. Yes, when they were drunk. These two characters, Charlie Breadfruit and Govans, and there were many others, but these two characters were often viewed with a mix of pity and amusement, a mix of pity and fun. And though they had a tendency to become violent occasionally, whenever they were heckled, they still exuded, or on a good day, they displayed an endearing charm. In the case of Prime Minister Drew, however, many have said that he is biologically confused through no fault of his. But on the contrary, he has a disgusting grin. I'm sure you would have recognized that by now. Then I recalled and told my friend that some years ago I enjoyed listening to the Prime Minister's questions in the United Kingdom Parliament. And I vividly remember then Prime Minister David Cameron calling Shadow Chancellor Ed Balls a muttering idiot. Cameron said this while in Parliament.
What we need to do, both in Britain and Europe, is to combine the fiscal deficit reduction, which has given us the low interest rates, with an active monetary policy, with structural reforms to make us competitive, and with innovative ways of using our hard-won credibility, which we wouldn't have if we listened to the muttering idiot sitting opposite me. That the Prime Minister will please withdraw the word idiot. It's unparliamentary. A simple withdrawal will suffice. We're grateful.
Well, muttering idiot, and asked by the Speaker to withdraw that term idiot, as it's not parliamentary. Well, we are not in Parliament tonight. And my friend and I finally concurred. Yes, we both agreed. And that's where I got the idea of the title for my thesis tonight. And of course, the Christophe Harbor scandal is still being debated and is still debatable. And for that reason, I should say, I settled with the final title, Drew the Muttering Idiot, 30% Missing. Listen to Prime Minister Drew at his last round table. But let me forewarn you though, your tolerance level would need to be high to absorb the nonsense spewed by the Prime Minister, along with the precious lies that come from his mouth. It is pathetic, to say the least. When our Prime Minister can double stupidity, because that's what it is, stupidity, and when he can double down and try to convince the Federation that the US $16 million borrowed by Christophe Harbor from the SIDF in 2013 was not a loan, when he can continue to say this, my straight dog family.
The Christophe Harbor situation, I know the reporters asked about it last week and you said the government was not writing off any debt. But when people are bandying about the talk that the debt is going to be written off, it means that the debt probably is not being serviced. Can you address that for us? Because remember, they borrowed this money from the CBI, and, as far as I'm concerned, I have a right to know about it. So let us know if it's up to date, if they're honoring the obligation to the Federation.
Right. I want to thank the caller for her call, and these are very important questions. When it comes to the issue of Christophe Harbor, there is not a loan agreement. We have an investment in Christophe Harbor.
And my straight dog family, I listened to Terence Michael Drew, and all I can say, I want to be clear, absolutely clear. I'm going to try to be pellucid, as my friend would say. And that I'm not defending Timothy Harris, but Straight Talk is obligated to bring the facts as they are, lest this muttering idiot Terence Drew will take St. Kitts Nevis to hell and back. He told us about a memorandum of understanding, but he did not tell us that it was not binding, which is typical of such a document. The memorandum of understanding expressed the intention of both parties to cooperate in this Christophe Harbor bankrupt project. This MOU served as a starting point. If Drew was honest, my straight dog family, if Dr. Drew was honest, he would have spoken about the letter of July 26, 2018, my straight dog family. If at all Dr. Drew was honest, he would have spoken about the letter sent to Buddy Darby on July the 26th, 2018. And this letter, I'll find it for you right now, in a moment now, my straight dog family. Hope and trust I loaded it. But this letter, dated July 26, 2018, is now on your monitor, my straight dog families. And the letter reads Yes, I find it now, my Straight Dog family. And you can read it for yourselves. Take your time. We have a lot of time. And we will get to that letter. Or perhaps we should try and read it together, my Straight Dog family. Let's read it together. Let's read that letter together, my Straight Dog family. It's to Charles Darby, dated July 26, 2018. Dear Mr. Darby, the Cabinet met on July 20th with the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, SIDF, or Foundations Board that should be, to review your email response of July 16th to my letter dated July 12, 2018, in which I had set out quite clearly our position following your letter to me dated June 29, 2018. I wish to restate Cabinet's position on the main points re the exit of the SIDF from KHTJV, that's the KHT joint venture. A, we would expect that 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach will be transferred from Christophe Harbor to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. B, this land must be unencumbered, free and clear. We expect that this would extinguish any obligation that Christophe Harbor has to the SIDF. To be clear, it means that 1, the outstanding loan monies with interest to date owed to the SIDF, as well as the US $2.1 million received by Christophe Harbor in February 2018, shall be written off and shall be no longer due and payable. The 30% equity interest valued at $6 million that SIDF holds in KHTJV would be transferred to your nominee. The Cabinet is of the view, my Straight Dog family, it reads that you have accepted the other terms and conditions as set out in my last letter in almost every aspect, but has taken note of your concern in respect of the US $10 million. We say that this money should be by the way of a second loan, but which you wish to be considered a payment. After due consideration, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is prepared, to offer a US $4 million cash payment, while the balance of $6 million be obtained by way of secured loan either from the National Bank or the SIDF. And it continues, my Straight Dog family. We are of the view that this is as such as you and your team are prepared to be on St. Kitts on Wednesday, 25th July 2018. We believe that the necessary documents can be prepared in order to be executed as closing on August 13, 2018, and speaks about the COT, the certificate of title. But very important, my Straight Dog family, is the second paragraph. I wish to restate, it reads, Cabinet's position on the main points with the exit of the SIDF from KHTJV. We expect, underline A, we expect that 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach will be transferred from Christophe Harbor to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. This land must be unencumbered, free and clear. So what is Drew talking about? What the hell is Dr. Drew talking about? We ask the question, my Straight Dog family. And again, I say, if Dr. Drew was honest, he would also read, my Straight Dog family. If Dr. Drew was honest, he would also read the email response from Buddy Darby of July 26, 2018, my Stray Dog family. And that email is posted on your screens as well. And it reads, take your time there, my Stray Dog family. It reads, Dear Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, thank you for your letter of today, July 26, 2018. I appreciate the movement in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis's position since my email of July 16, 2018. Subject to working out the details, I believe there is a framework of a deal. I am willing to travel this weekend and work next week with my team in order to bring this to a mutually successful conclusion. In order to do that, I have scheduled a 10 a.m. meeting with National Bank on Monday, but I will need guidance from your office on how to proceed. Steve Harbor is in the process of updating Donald Thompson on the requests that have been made since December 2017, but Donald is unaware of any of our conversations. I need to know who is the appropriate person to discuss the development agreement. I would be available Monday afternoon and would appreciate your office setting up a time with this person. I am in the process of engaging a surveyor to update the Turtle Beach land. When I arrive, I will have a timetable for his completion. Lastly, I would suggest a confirmed time Tuesday afternoon that we can convene to discuss any outstanding matters. I will have a full legal team standing by in Charleston to draft the necessary documents and interface with your local representation. We look forward to a successful conclusion next week. Regards, Buddy, Charles P. Darby. So why is Terence Michael Drew so dishonest about giving away SIDF? What we were getting is 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach. That's what Buddy Darby agreed to. And that's for the SIDF. Look at the second paragraph again, my Stray Dog family. This muttering idiot wants to tell the country otherwise. We expect that 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach will be transferred from Christophe Harbor to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And Buddy Darby agreed by his email on the same date, my Stray Dog family. Subject to working out the details, he said. I will travel to this weekend and work next week with my team. He also said that his legal or his surveyor and the penultimate paragraph, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth paragraph, I am in the process of engaging a surveyor to update the Turtle Beach land. So he has agreed, my Stray Dog family. Why is Dr. Drew such a blatant liar? That's all he does. Lies like when a horse is trotting. But my Stray Dog family, Terence Michael Drew is so daft, and he is such a precious liar, and he is prepared to lead the country from a point of ignorance by making nonsensical statements like this one, my Stray Dog family. Nonsensical statements like this one he made, my Stray Dog family. And he continues to make these kinds of statements, and we find it so sad, my Stray Dog family. He said this.
And we own 30% of Christophe Harbor, which means when the profits coming in start to come in, we're not only going to benefit from the jobs, and which are critically important, and the taxes and so forth, and fees and so forth, we will also share in the profit. We own 30% of it. So any sale to take place, we're at the table. This is private land, we know that. But we own 30%, we have 30% interest in this. So if you sell any, just make sure our 30% is in our bank account. So on the strike of the deal, our 30% go on this one.
My Street Dog family. So based on what Terence Michael Drew said, that we own 30% of Christophe Harbor, then where is our share from the sale of the marina and the assets? How much, if any, has gone to the account of Terence Michael Drew, or to whose account the 30% has gone? The people need to know what was the sale price of the marina and its assets, and where your 30% gone, Dr. Drew. Terence Michael Drew confessed as well that he stopped the deal. He said he stopped the deal. He stopped the deal for the country to get 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach. He said this, my Straight Dog family.
Remember, if there are 2,500 acres, we own 30% of that.
Idiots.
So I think we need to do some calculation. We're going to go through this together. So 2,500 times 30% is equal to 750 acres. But here was Timothy Harris making a deal just to give us 35 acres and leave. When 30% belongs to us, almost a third, which would equal to 750 acres. This is outrageous. That is why I had to stop the deal.
My Straight Dog family, the deal is stopped. This was the deal. He stopped 400 acres of land that would have been transferred to the government. That was the deal. Why is Jew such a lie? And my grandmother used to always say, where you find a liar, you find a thief. Why is Jew such a liar, my Straight Dog family? So where the money gone, Prime Minister? Terence Michael Drew is such a muttering idiot that till this day, he is not aware that the deal he stopped was the transfer of 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. How could that be handing Christophe Harbor to Derby? How could that be, my Straight Dog family? How that could be giving away Christophe Harbor, as he said? We never owned Christophe Harbor. So how can we give away Christophe Harbor, my Straight Dog family? That's what Drew has said. He also admitted this. At
no point did the government own any land at the Southeast Peninsula. When the sugar cane lands were taken in the 1970s and paid for in the 1980s, the Southeast Peninsula was not included. I want to say that again. The Southeast Peninsula was not included. Hence, the land at the Southeast Peninsula was all private land. Private land. So I want to say that because there's some talk about government selling out land and so forth. I just want to make it clear that the government owned no land on the Southeast Peninsula. If it did, very, very little.
No, if it did, it was on a temporal basis, because the government, in fact, acquired some 852 or 53 acres of land and sold it to Christophe Harbor, Body Derby, for $17 million. But you're so right. If the government owned no land, how can they be giving away Christophe Harbor?
The Harris-led administration was handing Christophe Harbor completely to Derby. 96% completely. And I will explain why. No, it could be 98%. They were just handing it to them, and I'll explain. The records show that the Harris-led administration began secretly negotiating an outrageous deal with Derby in 2017. Outrageous. Nobody knows about this deal. This deal was done in the dark. So how can you come on the radio and just lie to the people and not tell the people you were seeking? They had the deal secured, basically. It is just that I stopped the deal. It was a bad deal, a horrible deal that was throwing St. Kitts and Nevis and the SIDF under the bus.
My Straight Talk family, Christophe Harbor was already given to Buddy Darby when he was allowed to borrow US $16 million from the SIDF and never paid back 1 cent. I need to, one more time, expose the loan agreement to you, my Straight Dog family, because it's really difficult. It's really difficult to listen to Dr. Drew spewing all these lies. And the loan agreement is on your screens, my Straight Dog family, dated November 11, 2013. If you look at the third paragraph, section 1.2, subject to the terms and conditions thereof, the lender agrees to provide the borrower with a term loan in the original principal amount of US $16 million, signed by Steve Harbor and Terence Crosman, who was then the CEO of the SIDF. It's painful, really, to listen to Terence Michael July. He's either daft, he's either so words can't find, I can't find words to describe him. So let's stick to the muttering idiot. Under this man called Buddy Darby, the Social Security Board allowed Christophe Harbor to deduct wages from its employees and never matched its contributions and paid them into the Social Security Board, as they allowed Christophe Harbor to accumulate $4.5 million in debt to Social Security. The minister with responsibility for Social Security said that to us, my Straight Dog family. He said this.
Specifically, the sale has facilitated the payment of EC $4.5 million to Social Security Board.
My Straight Dog family, well, if they turn a blind eye and refuse to prosecute Garth Lucifer Wilkin, should we be surprised if they did not prosecute Buddy Darby and send him to jail? Buddy Darby deserves a jail for the Social Security money outstanding in keeping with the law. Who is Buddy Darby, you may ask? He claimed to be of $100 million in net worth. Has a very expensive yacht, or a yacht at $9 million. His worth of $100 million, and one of his key takeaways. Look at it, my Straight Dog family. Look to the right there on your screen at key takeaways. And look at number 2 takeaway. Christophe Harbor that has enriched his portfolio. Terence Michael July confessed that he stopped the SIDF deal. Then we must ask, who stopped? Who stopped this St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla National Bank deal? The issues, my Straight Dog family, pertaining to the National Bank, that's also very clear. And I post them for your observation, my Straight Dog family. On your screens, is information relating to the National Bank and its loan. And it states there, as you can read, on January 9, 2020, the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank applied to the court to settle articles of sale pursuant to Section 75 of the Title by Registration Act and related matters. By virtue of Section 76 of the said Act, the court must 1. Settle the articles of sale, 2. Fix the upset price upon such information or valuation as may be considered necessary and sufficient. 3. Appoint the day of sale, adjust the announcements, and 5. Determine the mode of publication thereof. Beg your pardon. But look to the background, my straight dog family. Look to Section 2 and the facts. But look to Section 3. The respondent, read with me, the respondent, KHT Land Holdings Limited, hereinafter called KHT, is the registered proprietor of 433.456 acres of land situated at Turtle Beach, Salt Pond Estate, in the parish of St. George in the southeast peninsula on the island of St. Kitts, hereinafter the subject property. The subject property secured a loan to Christophe Harbor Development Company, hereinafter called Christophe Harbor, by the bank on the 24th of February 2014. My straight dog family, let's move to the case for the bank. And the case for the bank is pellucid. The case for the bank is absolutely clear, my straight dog family. No doubt whatsoever. You can read it as well from your monitors. And I crave your indulgence because we have to bring the facts to you and debunk the nonsense that Terence Michael Drew is stating. The bank submitted, my straight dog family, that its application has its objective to force the sale of the subject property. It contended that it is a last resort for the bank to collect the money it is owed by Christophe Harbor. The bank presented 4 witnesses who were cross-examined. Ms. Caroline Adams, the bank's senior manager, corporate lending; Mr. Donald Thompson, chief executive officer of the bank; Mr. Calvin Esdale, commissioned land surveyor, land development consultant, property evaluator; and Mr. Brian Kassab, realtor. Read Section 10. The evidence established that Christophe Harbor defaulted on his obligation to repay the money owed to the bank. KHT pledged the subject property to secure the payment of Christophe Harbor's debt. After more than 6 years, the debt stands at almost as much as the amount lent. He didn't spend a cent, or he didn't pay back a cent, my straight dog family. Then, the order of the court is very important, my straight dog family. The order of the court. And the court made an order. It did, yes, my straight dog family. The court made an order, and this case went to the court, as I said before. This case went to the court to recover some land for the debt owed to the bank. And my straight dog family, there's a claim in the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, my straight dog family. And the applications in the matter between the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank and KHT Land Holdings. And to your right, you will see the order of the court. 66, section 66. Based on the foregoing I make the following orders. The upset price for the subject property is fixed at $25 million, beg your pardon. The real estate firm of B. Kassab and Associates is hereby appointed to conduct the sale. The market plan for which is to be filed on or before the 14th of May 2021. B. Kassab and Associates shall be reimbursed from the proceeds of the sale of the subject property. The matter is to be listed for hearing on the 2nd June 2021 for further determination in relation to the other requirements under Section 75 of the Title by Registration Act, signed by Tamara Gill, Master, by the High Court, my straight dog family. So what happened to that case? That's a question we ask. What happened to the case? Was it buried by Terence Michael Drew? Or did Terence Michael Drew instruct the board of directors at the National Bank to forfeit 430 acres of land and the $25 million owed? Why has the bank failed to continue the fight for those 454 acres of land? Those lands were pledged as collateral. Someone, I said before, is quietly moving the cheese behind closed doors. Is it the Prime Minister who leads the government that owns 51% of the National Bank? The people are left in the dark. Have you closed this deal as well? Have you stopped that deal, Terence Michael Drew? People are in the dark while a privileged few play monopoly with the nation's lands and its money. It is the people's cheese. It is our land, our money, our future. The past 3 years we have been governed by a leader who seems more interested in his own comfort and image than in serving the people who place him in power. That's why he moved out of Monkey Hill in 2 weeks and gone to Beacon Heights, living in a house owned by the state. Yet we are told he has never denied that he still collects his housing allowance for his house in St. Peter's. Our Prime Minister, who is entrusted with the highest office of the land, has consistently failed to demonstrate the qualities we expect from a leader: honesty, integrity, accountability, and a sense of responsibility. Let's begin with the most glaring of all issues: mismanagement of public funds. It is no secret that our Prime Minister has repeatedly demonstrated a reckless disregard for the public purse. Think of the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Museum. Think of the 1,000 water buckets or water tanks. And my straight talk family, while ordinary citizens struggle to make ends meet, the man who is supposed to lead us has been frequenting chartered jets, has been frequently traveled, beg your pardon, via chartered jets at an expense that defies reason. Right now, he's gone to France and or Brazil, my straight talk family. He went to Nigeria on a jet, costing US $600,000, my straight talk family. He landed on this airplane.
A pivotal moment in African-Caribbean economic relations unfolds here in Abuja as St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Terence Drew arrived for the African-Caribbean Investment Summit. His touchdown signaled more than just a diplomatic visit. With his stage set for high-stakes discussions, the expectation is high on how this summit will reshape the economic future of these two regions. Landry Babalola, AIT News, Abuja.
More than $600,000 was spent on that jet. He just disembarked in Nigeria. Taxpayer money wasted on extravagant flights, when for the same price we could have provided vital services to our communities or supported our healthcare, education, and social programs. While we work hard to make ends meet, the Prime Minister treats the funds of this nation as though they were his own personal account, flying in luxury, while the rest of us are left to foot the bill. This is not just irresponsible, it is immoral. It is a stark reminder of the elitism that has taken hold of the corridors of power. But this is not the only issue. Our Prime Minister has shown a disdain for accountability. Time and time again, he has evaded questions from the media and the people. His responses are incoherent, often resorting to muttering and vague promises that never seem to materialize. This is not the behavior of a leader who respects the public he serves. It is the behavior of someone who, instead of addressing the nation's concerns, tries to brush them aside with flimsy excuses. Let us not forget the series of broken promises, the lack of transparency in government dealings, the failure to provide adequate reports or updates on public projects. How are we supposed to trust the leadership when even the most basic form of accountability is ignored? We cannot continue to allow the Prime Minister to operate in a vacuum of opacity and neglect. The path forward begins with the demand for action. It is time to hold our Prime Minister accountable for his actions. We need a comprehensive investigation into misuse of funds. There should be transparency about where taxpayers' money has gone. The Prime Minister must appear before the public, not only in press conferences, but in open hearings, town halls, where he is held directly accountable for his actions. My Straight Talk family. This leader fails to serve the public interests and uses and misuses public funds and refuses to act with transparency. He no longer deserves the trust of the people. And my Straight Talk family, the road ahead will not be easy. It will require courage. It will require unity. And it will require that we as a nation refuse to tolerate any longer the erosion of trust that has plagued our government. We must no longer accept the Prime Minister who fails to lead with integrity and accountability. It is time for a change in direction. It is time to rise above this era of poor leadership and demand that those in power be held accountable for their actions. The time for polite pleasantries and empty words has passed. The time for accountability is now. We have a Prime Minister who has become a muttering figurehead, a leader who seems incapable of articulating a clear vision or even engaging in a coherent conversation with the public. Instead of standing strong and speaking with clarity, his responses have been nothing more than mumbles, as if the gravity of his office has become too much to bear. The people deserve better than a leader who cannot string together a single thoughtful sentence. We deserve a voice, not an echo. His failure to account for his actions has been nothing short of reckless. When questioned about his extravagant travel, his lavish chartered flights at the expense of the taxpayers, he has offered no excuses. He's silent. The arrogance with which he squanders public funds on such luxuries, funds that could have been used to address national needs, reveals a leader who is not fit to govern, but to self-indulge. We no longer believe that Terence Michael Drew can lead this nation in the direction it needs to go. He has misled, ignored, and betrayed the people. And now it's time for him to step aside. Step aside, Terence Michael Drew. If you have any respect left for the office you hold and for the people you have sworn to serve, it is time to resign and move on. It is time for you to acknowledge that your leadership has not just been ineffective, it has been a hindrance to the progress of this nation. We need a leader who listens, who acts with integrity, and who is not afraid to put the people's needs first. It's time for new leadership. Leadership that puts the nation above personal interest. Leadership that is capable of clear thought, open communication, and above all, honesty. We can no longer wait. The people are no longer willing to wait for a leader who mumbles his way through every crisis, who shirks responsibility at every turn. We can no longer tolerate you, Mr. Drew, the muttering idiot who hasn't accounted for the 30% that's missing. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines at this point in time and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us, my Straight Dog family, try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us, my Straight Dog family, in the process, try to ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. At 8 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, we go straight to the lines, my Straight Dog family, and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear.
The quotation, any man can make mistakes. But only an idiot persists in his error.
Only an idiot
Persists in his error.
Persists in his error.
I repeat, any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening. Always welcome your quotations. And we go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night. Yes, thank you, Brother Patches. Good night, Brother Patches.
Good night, sir.
Good night, all the listeners. You are in the court of listening and make a determination. This is Winston Welcome. Now, Patches, everything that you have outlined, I will second that motion. But if I may interject with my version, which is aligned with you, this is the case to me to describe the Prime Minister and the continuance of this deal, a muttering idiot. First time I'm coming so blunt in changing the name of anyone. But listen to this. In this transaction, the buyer had to have some interest in that or whatever portion of land. And he made his bid for the land. Now, the land were private owners. Now, going back into Dr. Kennedy Simmons' time, the road, the Southeast Peninsula was already ready for a transaction as such. That road was granted by U.S. aid. So moving forward after Simmons' time, the buyer made an interest. And Dr. Douglas acquired those lands, whatever the total of lands is in acre. Then, Buddy Darby, who is the subject, came with no money but interest in the land or the lands. He came with a briefcase, but there was no money. No money. And if he didn't have any money, he's not ready. So who gave him the blight to go to the National Bank and the National Trust and the SIDF? Somebody was looking where they could get their hand grease or something come on the table. Moving forward, whatever in between with Harris time and moving forward to the final part of it, Dr. Drew. He looked at the deal. Hold on, let me just correct me from wrong.
Yeah, I need to correct you though.
Please.
Yeah, please.
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah, because I don't think I should allow you to go down that particular road, because when the arrangement started with a Burge Fire Sky Limited, that was before Buddy Darby. Okay, some lands were bought from some private owners. When Buddy Darby came in, if I recall, Denzel Douglas, or his administration rather, acquired only 852 or 53 acres of land. The total parcel was 2,500 acres. Buddy Darby or Christophe Harbor would have bought those lands. So before any bank or SIDF came into play, those lands were already in the possession of Christophe Harbor. The bank only came into play when they were constructing the marina. So I think I need to clear that out. So please don't go down that road if you don't have the facts. So, but be careful with the points you make, please.
Question. Was Buddy Darby...
No. This is not question time. Right?
Okay. No. What I'm saying...
But I don't want you to go to trod on the road you don't understand it. If you don't understand it, just leave it alone, right?
Was Buddy Darby a citizen of St. Kitts to buy our land?
I am not aware he's a citizen, but we have an Alien Land Holding Act. Alien Land Holding... I think it's called an Alien Land Holding License Act or something like that. So aliens, if you're not born in here, the cabinet has to approve your Alien Land Holding License. I think that's what it's called. So it doesn't matter whether you're born here or not. As a matter of fact, in the Frigate Bay area, it was exempted. Bradshaw in this time exempted the Alien Land Holding License because they wanted to stimulate growth in Frigate Bay when they acquired Frigate Bay. So
that's special.
Yeah.
That's a special.
Well, what's the point you're trying to make there? You're sort of complicating things for me, for you, and for the listeners. What is the point you're making?
The point I'm trying to make.
Please.
The deal, part of the deal started off shysty and shady, and due to the fact that somewhere along the way, the SIDF, the National Bank and National Trust, which the National Bank is the People's Bank, okay? And Buddy Darby should have a timeline to pay off for what he owed before a title should have issued to him in that spirit. And for that reason...
But here again, I'm saying to you, just on the road, because the title, issuing of a title has nothing to do with the government. He bought the land from private enterprise. Most of the land was bought from private enterprise. Obviously, when he got the government acquired the 853 acres and sold him for $17 million. We don't know what transpired with the Douglas administration in the title. But please don't go down there, man. Don't complicate things. You're complicating things for yourself, you're complicating things for me, and you're complicating for the people listening. We don't need to get the road. The point is tonight, here's the point, right? Drew has come to this country and told a big lie. He stopped the deal, right? And I put it on your screen. When he said that Harris was giving away some 30% shares. All right? 30%. When in fact the letter is very clear. The letter is straightforward and clear. It's on your monitors. And he said, we expect that 400 acres of the land that will be transferred to the government. Right. So that's where he told a lie. And again, for the National Bank went to the court to get their 400 acres of land as well for money they didn't, for a loan he didn't pay. All right, so I'll give you 5 seconds and you wrap up, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
Patrice, I'm going to wrap up.
Yeah, but don't get too complicated, please. Yeah, okay.
I will rest there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you understand that, my straight dog family. I think you will get it complicating things for everybody and even confusing me and confusing the listeners as well. Caller, you're live. I thank you for holding.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my
Calico Auntie.
How are you?
How are you this evening?
I am peaceful.
I'm here waiting a long time on the line.
I apologize
yes.
for that.
Yes, no problem. I went to town today and I wanted to listen because you just cut me off. Last week I get cut off very quick because then I
give you Kaliko's auntie.
Yes.
You keep saying I cut you off. I normally allot 2 minutes for persons.
Okay.
I'm being tolerant, and sometimes you get 4 and 5 minutes. You know, I listen to you, but I can't have you talking for so long. You can make your points in 2 minutes.
I have two questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I went to town today, and Mr. Liburd, not excuse anybody on the road, even the supermarket, in the drugstore, nobody at all in those places. High day, nobody on the street. Night, nobody still on the street. Also in the bank, nobody there. What's really going on, Mr. Liburd?
Things bad.
What's really going on in this place?
Things bad.
These people that run in this country think it could be better. Think it could come good. Think it could come good, but it's the kind of people want to rule. They want to creep and grab, and the poor man who put them there to hell with them. Every how Dr. Jutaki he calling Timothy name. Why he calling Timothy name? Why he calling Timothy is not in there now? Why he calling his name? Let he come out and talk the truth because what happened in the dark, you know, will surely come out in the light. A lot of lie he telling. Huh? The artists them coming here, you see much money he gonna give them? You see much money he gonna give them or to check from people healthcare in this country? I mean no. People healthcare supposed to be the number one in this country. But see how much money that the artists them come here to sing what? Nonsense. Nonsense. The hospital want good medicine inside here. Good equipment and all them kind of thing there. The hospital wants. Eh? See how much money going to give the artists them? 250? He allowed to give poor people in this country. I think it's this month is the last. 250 is money? Eh? And he and he cabal them a hand and a scrape the money that pull from social security, that pull from this, that pull from that when people reach 60, 65, no money gone there with them. Eh? They put them down now to 55. 55, you retire. Mr. Liburd, this government need to go, you know. Timothy talk to those people out there, you know, and they still take the backside and put them in there, you know. There's not for poor people. Labor end for poor people. They need to go. They need to go. There's not for poor people. People can't sit to horses. Every night the water gone in Sunny Point. He got road up the alley of the stadium view. Well, one pitch got him one with a big pothole in the road. And mash up people vehicle. Not keep, not happen in this country, yeah. Everything I just died. You could feel the vibration.
Okay.
Eh? You could feel it. Eh?
Okay,
How we take on and next thing else again, Mr. Liburd.
Oh, please, Rob.
I just want that commissioner there to give my brother justice. Because if you don't give my brother justice, you know, force can make water go uphill. Force can make water go uphill. If you don't give my brother justice, you know, I'm going to read my Bible, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I stop read my Bible, you know. I ain't going to stop read my Bible.
Okay, my dear. Okay.
And I'm going to call in him and the officer who killed my brother child. They got to surrender.
Okay,
this government,
Okay, thanks a lot. I need to take some other calls. I want to thank you for your contribution as usual. We're gonna go back to the lines, but before we do that, my straight dog family, I just got some information here in relation to the distribution of the lands in relation to Christophe Harbor. The lands, the 1,100 acres came from the Kawajo family, Ramirez Kawajo, the Kramer, Pereira, Wilkin, and Reed families at 433 acres. And Golgar, that land was, I think that was the land acquired by the government, 852 acres, and some other acreage got consumed as well. So that's the distribution of the land there on Frigate Bay. So there's no government land. These were all private transactions. So don't get mixed up. The government was never involved in that, except for the acquisition of the land, 852 acres as well. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night, sir.
Good topic, but I'm a student of your class, and I have very good comprehension. But I hope some people could really have a good comprehension. And I just want to say one thing before I move on to my conversation. The Bible is not to use to destroy anyone. The Bible is to save people, not to destroy or bring destruction on anyone. So that person needs to check themselves by using the Bible. That's not what the Bible is for. If you're godly man and people has done you evil, God will put it. God will deal with it. You know.
Make a point.
But the Bible. I just want to have I don't like the topic with Bible. That was old time days using Bible for hobby and all. It's foolishness.
We're gonna fight now. Wait, just hold. No, please. But just bear with me a second, could you? Right? Because I don't want us to argue. Just make your point. You don't have to repeat something, right? Just say something. You don't need to repeat it 2 and 3 times, okay?
Well, I said it, okay?
I tolerate you. You know, on the very first show, you remember what happened to you and I, right? You remember that, right?
Well,
I've been.
But you also defend by my comments like that. I'm just speaking righteousness. But let me move on, man. Let me move on.
Quickly move on.
Your
time is almost done. Yeah.
Yeah, I know your nature when you come to me. Patches. I listen to Dr. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And as a student of politics, a layman of politics, I put my head on the block. Dr. Joe is speaking the perfect truth. You are trying to mama guy the listeners with your political.
Let me say this to you again, right? And I raised the matter just now. You probably didn't pick it up. I put something on the monitors just now, right? And I don't know if you read it. I read it for you.
I read it. I was watching it. I read it.
So if you read it, did you understand it? Right?
I understand it. That's why I'm a student, because I pick things from nonsense.
But then you're a poor student, because if you read that is like ABC, right? And it says, we expect 400 acres of land. I went back and I also put up an email from Buddy Darby confirming the letter. So how on earth you're going to come here and say that Dr. Drew was right? Dr. Drew is a blatant liar. Right? He's a muttering idiot. And I said to you before, you know, right? And we're not going to argue tonight because you upset a lot of my listeners, and I tolerate you, right? But I told you one time about a story I first heard about. Come on, I could just turn you down, turn you off, but just listen to me. I listen to you, right? Limo said to me one time, I was having a heated discussion. Some people would say an argument with a guy there in the circus. And someone came and touched me on my shoulder and looked back, it was the late Limo. And I always remembered him, I always respected him. And he said, never argue with him. You know, he had a way of speaking, you know, attract you.
Only to find,
yeah, but I don't want to use it again. because you seem to be going down that
you don't
road.
have to go back there because
But then, but you're forcing me to go back there. You're forcing me to go back there because I'll tell you the truth. I tell you when you come with these things, number more patience that I use with you. I said to you again, when you come with them kind of stories, if you can tell me about Jew was talking the truth, start once upon a time. If you're not willing to start once upon a time, then I won't let you continue.
Everybody's not going to agree with your opinion or your facts.
Okay, my brother. I don't think we're getting it tonight, right? Because these are not my facts. These are the facts from a written letter I put up on the screen, which I read. I read the second paragraph, and from an email written by Buddy Darby himself. The email is clear. The email is very, very clear, my straight talk brother. It is. It's on your screen here right now. Read it. In response to the letter dated July 2018, right? Drew spoke about some memorandum for understanding in February 2018. Hear what Buddy Darby says. It's there. Thank you for your letter of July the 26, 2018. I appreciate the movement in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis's position since my email of July 16. Subject to working out the details, I believe there's a framework of a deal. That's what Buddy Darby says. He signed to the bottom, Buddy. In the fourth paragraph, he says, I am in the process of engaging a surveyor to update the Turtle Beach land. When I arrive, I will have a timetable for its completion. And what was the completion requested? To hand or transfer the land to the government free and clear, unencumbered. So don't come and tell me that I must sit back and hear and agree that you said Jew was right. How on earth could Jew be right? Jew, as I said, is a muttering idiot. That's what I'm saying to you, my brother. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your line.
Yes, good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, sir.
I've been here speaking about this land issue over at the peninsula. There's a guy named Dr. Beard. He didn't have a piece of land over there too?
Not to my knowledge. There was an issue with a Golgar, some arrangement with himself and Golgar, the land that was acquired by the government. Yeah. But that matter went to the court and I think it was resolved.
The one with Dr. Beard?
Yes. I think there was an injunction that Beard had filed, and I don't think it went any place in layman's terms. Yeah.
Okay. But next thing again, some of these things that you're speaking about, I believe Mr. Askafan, he have a hand in these things.
Why you saying that? Why you blaming Askafan for what?
Because he's a lawyer and he know his theory to go around these things. He will tell you who have this and who have that. He's my friend, but still, sometimes I think he does a little two-way out of the gloom to get these things done. And coming back to Dr. Joe, he has gone into government. How can he talking things bad about Dr. Timothy Harris when he do not know the gentleman as a prime minister? He worked under Dr. Timothy Harris as a doctor, and now that he holds office, he have him to brutalize. And I like to tell my good friend, Mr. Dwyer Asafan, right? Please to get out of this and do your legal work and stop because the people in labor do not love you. They're talking evil and bad things about you. And it's time enough that you come out and say enough is enough. Because you stay in parliament like Teldimo, my hands are clean. When Dr. Douglas was getting him out and bringing in Ricky Skerritt as the Minister of Tourism. And it's time for him to leave. These are the confusion going on as a liar. Time for him to done with it and move on. He's my friend. I like him. But I think he's doing a little too much. And I don't want nobody to brutalize him no more.
Okay. Thank you.
That's one thing with me. I speak plain. If you and I cannot get on and I speak English, but I can still tell you I love you. You have done something to me, and I think it's time for you to step aside and move on. Because people in Labour do not love him, do not just speak ill will about him, and they're treating him bad. When you got people like Edinburgh as well, ambassador getting 10,000. What happened to Mr. Doy Afterson? He couldn't be ambassador getting the same 10,000 too. I think, please, I hope he hears me, hear my voice. I'm telling Mr. Doy please to get out, because people for Labour do not love him.
Okay.
And he should be an ambassador getting the 10,000, just like Edinburgh.
Okay, my brother. Thanks.
Have a good night.
Have a good night as well. And just to update that the beard matter that was just raised by that caller, I'm advised it's still in court. It is in fact currently at the Privy Council. And the background to that Wycliffe Beard tried to buy 172 acres from Golgar. And it was in court while Douglas agreed to acquire some of that 852 acres. So it's before the court, and I understand that Wycliffe Beard is trying to get some compensation for that. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Patches, man. Good evening to you and the listeners home and abroad.
Good evening, my brother.
At the round table Tuesday, I personally think that the AG should have been next to the Prime Minister in that presentation to bring the legal, points out, bring that legal expertise he got, and him being the point man for the Prime Minister in the legal aspects, to bring some clarity and to keep that legal issues going forward. Me personally, Monday when you came on, I put out a bet when the Prime Minister has his round table on Tuesday, he still would not mention what the marina was sold for. And somebody probably needs to put some bet money in my account. He still didn't mention it. Without that figure, we cannot calculate any percentage that's owned to the persons who have the interest in that ownership of that property. We cannot figure it out. So then, therefore, information are being hidden. It's a real estate sale. Whether they split the money up front or they pull out some equity out of this or whatever, we need a realtor to come and explain this as well. And a lot of stuff going on in the Federation. The people are just sitting back. People are not really interested in the politics of their own country. But all of these things right here, all of the parties that's involved, they are corrupted. They do not want to release the information to the public, the pertinent information. All I'm saying right now, the question is, with all of the information that's flowing, what else do we need to figure out to make a conclusion that all of these leaders we had so far, up until the current one, they are not displaying any allegiance and loyalty to the Federation of Sinkis and Nevis, not with these behavior patterns, not with these actions. So what's going on right now is really appealing to the Bryant clause. So I just want to put that out there. And all I'm going to say different than that is that the people, the citizens of Sinkis and Nevis, if they don't stop this stuff now, we will end up like Jamaica. We won't be able to go on some of our beaches. The oligarchs is going to come in and run Sinkis and Nevis. And I will leave it there for now, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your intervention. We go back to the lines. Let me take this before I this email and try to dispense of some emails. Good evening, Ambassador. Blessings. Hope all is well with you. Dr. Drew never ceases to amaze me. Imagine telling a former prime minister that he has no right to address the nation and that he should know his place and remain humble. What arrogance. July 18, 2022, Dr. Drew wasn't even an MP. Didn't he address the nation? Seems that Dr. Drew wants to muzzle his opponents. Are we headed towards a dictatorship? Stay safe. Reads that email. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good night.
Is this the Bible man?
Yeah, this is the Bible man.
Oh, bring some calm with your Bible verses here.
Yeah. Now, the situation is it that I see one thing that the Word of God said. Mr. Patrick, the Word of God said, the days in Psalms 90, the days are 70
years and 10.
But by reason of strength, it shall be fourscore.
And
that's the Word of God say, Lord, help us to number our days. Now, Mr. Patrick, it is so wonderful that when we go down to sleep at night time, it is a miracle why we get up at morning time. And God is the real author and our aid. If God wants to take us up a morning time, that is good to us. But listen here, Mr. Patrick. If we read in the Bible itself in Psalms, in Proverbs, and you see in himself in Lamentations, you see the goodness of God to us. And we have to lift up our voice and give God thanks and praise for every single day. Now, 107 Psalms said, oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good
mercies.
For his mercy endured forever. The word of God said, let every man praise me. He said, if you don't praise him that the stone will cry out. So, Mr. Patrick, I want to say tonight that people must understand that the goodness of God, you hear?
Yes, sir. Okay.
And I'm saying to you tonight, look at Psalm 46. God is our refuge
and strength
yes, in the present time of trouble. In everything that we do, God there.
Yes, sir.
Everywhere we go, God is there. And so, we must tap it. We must tap things for granted.
Okay.
Now, the last thing I can tell you something, Mr. Patrick.
Yes, please.
In Deuteronomy chapter 30, it says set before us life and death, Mr. Patrick. And he will tell Harry, choose life. It didn't violate our will. I said, have a pleasant night and see you.
Have a pleasant
for the time.
Have a pleasant night as well, and thank you for your spiritual intervention, I call it. That's the Bible Man at 9:42. Oh, how time flies, my Straight Dog family. And our quotation for tonight from Across the Narrows: any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. How timely. Good night, Mr. Liburd. Thank you for keeping us informed with all the things that are going on with this sick Labour Party. Reads this email. Every time we turn around, something else is wrong. Then we see July come up with something else to throw in our faces, such as another trip for himself or his ministers. Are we to just sit around and wait for the next election while July and the Labour Party make our federation a laughing stock of the Caribbean? Also, Mr. Welcome, you said in your meltdown last Monday night that we need new people. Well, sir, that is what July is. And look at what we are getting. Be blessed. Mr. Liburd reads this email. This other email reads, good night, Patches. That guy from the USVI is a fool. He's speaking comprehension, hurting my ears. Stay off the radio, boy. Thanks, Patches reads this email. Good night, Mr. Liburd. Please add foolish and stupid to muttering idiot. The man so stupid he can't give the cost of the sale of the marina. He also let the cat out of the bag when he said the people got 60-something shares for the design and so one for the airport. But work out 60 times 250,000. You will get $15 million. So add that to the cost of the airport. I can't see we have $15 million to do a design. Yes, very interesting email, and that's something we cannot touch. Yes, he did say for feasibility studies, but we know that CIDC is selling helter-skelter, all in Hong Kong, in China, and in Nigeria. They are selling these shares on the airport expansion. But my Straight Talk family, you may have joined me late. And tonight we are looking at the thesis which I have titled Drew the Muttering Idiot, 30% Missing. And I gave you the background to the title of my thesis, and perhaps it bears repeating, because it was someone who called me, as I mentioned in the introduction, a friend of mine from within the region who follows closely our politics here in St. Kitts. And he called me, beg your pardon, told me that he had just listened to our Prime Minister at his quote-unquote round table and asked the question if in St. Kitts and Nevis we have village idiots. He made the point that in this country, in every village, there are idiots. And I did say, since he assumed, beg your pardon, the office of Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, going on to almost 3 years. And my friend said, this is not science. But in every village in his country, there is someone who is considered the village idiot. And as our conversation continued, I began to reflect on my days growing up here in St. Kitts. There were characters like Charlie Breadfruit. I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember Charlie Breadfruit. And Govans. And others as well. who would at times behave as if they suffered from some form of mental illness, especially when they were under the influence of alcohol, when they were drunk. And these two characters and many others who were often viewed with a mix of pity and fun, amusement. And though they had a tendency to become violent whenever they were heckled, because as small days as we call it, we heckle and we run. But when they were heckled, they still exuded, they still displayed an endearing charm. But here in the case of Prime Minister Drew, however, many have said that he is biologically confused through no fault of his. But on the contrary, examine him closely. I'm sure you will agree he has a disgusting grin. Always grinning. Then I recall and told my friend that some years ago, and I used to listen to the PM's question time. I think it used to be every Tuesday in the UK, in UK Parliament. And I remembered then Prime Minister Cameron calling the Shadow Chancellor Edward a muttering idiot. It stayed with me since then. I remember this.
What we need to do, both in Britain and Europe, is to combine the fiscal deficit reduction, which has given us the low interest rates, with an active monetary policy, with structural reforms to make us competitive, and with innovative ways of using our hard-won credibility, which we wouldn't have if we listened to the muttering idiot sitting opposite me.
That the Prime Minister will please withdraw the word idiot. It's unparliamentary. A simple withdrawal will suffice. We're grateful.
Well, according to the Speaker, the word idiot is not parliamentary language. But my friend and I finally concurred. We both agreed that that he's a muttering idiot. And that's where I got the idea of a title for my thesis. And of course, the Christophe Harbor scandal is still being debated and debatable until we get answers from the Prime Minister about the sale of this marina. He bluntly refused to answer questions. So I settled with Drew, the muttering idiot, 30% missing. And my Straight Talk family, I made the point as we wind down tonight's programming that Drew tried to make us believe that his predecessor was giving away Christophe Harbor. Government never owned Christophe Harbor, mark you. He said this.
Harris claims that he was coming down hard on Derby, when in fact he was handing Christophe Harbor to Derby. He was just giving it back. With $6 million and a little piece of land over here, 35 acres of the 2,500 acres. And no claim to the harbor. He was giving the whole thing away and took the money out of the SIDF to pay for it. This is highway robbery. Highway robbery. There was an email, I'm going to follow it up, from the chair of the SIDF at that time. But I will go on to say that he formalized an MOU in February 2018 between Derby and the government to memorialize that deal. And he went ahead and paid EC $5.7 million on the agreed upon amount upon the signing of that MOU.
And my Straight Talk family, yes, he spoke about some MOU. But he did not tell us that it was not binding, which is typical of such a document. The MOU expressed the intention of both parties to cooperate on this bankrupt Christophe Harbor. It served as a starting point, no doubt, for negotiations. And fast track, my straight dog family. He spoke to February, but this was July. I guess he lied. This was the month of July, which we took out of the calendar. We know we only have 11 months now. We took out July. He's to lie. And I brought to this information, which is clear, my straight dog family. And as I said before, I am only presenting the facts. And these are the facts, my straight dog family. July 26, 2018. Addressed to Charles P. Darby III, founder and chief executive officer, Christophe Harbor. Dear Mr. Darby, it reads, the cabinet met on Friday, July 20th, with the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation's board to review your email response of July 16 to my letter dated July 12, 2018, and which I had set out quite clearly our position following your letter to me dated June 29, 2018. And the letter continues, I wish to restate Cabinet's position on the main points really exit of the SID from the KHT joint venture, JV. A, we expect that 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach will be transferred from Christophe Harbor to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And B, this land must be unencumbered, free, and clear. 400 acres of prime land, my straight dog family. And the letter continues. You can, at your leisure, read the rest of it. But in interest of time, Darby responded on the same day via email. Dear Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, thank you for your letter of today, July 26, 2018. I appreciate the movement in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis since position since my email of July 16, 2018. Subject to working out the details, I believe there's a framework of a deal. I am willing to travel this weekend and work next week, and with my team, beg your pardon, in order to bring this to a mutually successful conclusion. What is he giving away? The man is getting 400 acres, the cabinet is getting 400 acres of land. And read the fourth paragraph of that email. I am in the process of engaging a surveyor to update the Turtle Beach land. When I arrive, I will have a timetable for his completion. And it's signed Buddy, Charles P. Darby, Chief Executive Officer. So what are we talking about? Look again, the National Bank. The National Bank, my straight dog family, had its issues as well with Buddy Darby. National Bank went to court, and the National Bank did in fact present its case to the court. Straightforward case, my straight dog family. Straightforward, which I as well brought to your attention tonight. The bank submitted the application. It has its objective to force a sale of the subject property. Section 10. The evidence established that Christophe Harbor defaulted to repay the money owed to the bank. KHT pledged the subject property to secure the payment of Christophe Harbor's debt. After more than 6 years, the debt stands at almost as much as the amount lent. So who is giving away what, my straight dog family? That's the question we ask. Who is giving away what? What is Jew talking about? Jew is just a muttering idiot. And my straight talk family, Terence Michael Jew is so daft, and he's such a precious liar, and he's prepared to lead the country from a point of ignorance by making nonsensical statements like this one he made as well, my straight talk family. He made this also nonsensical statement.
And we own 30% of Christophe Harbor, which means when the profits coming in start to come in, we're not only going to benefit from the jobs, and which are critically important, and the taxes and so forth, and fees and so forth, we will also share in the profit. We own 30% of it. So any sale to take place, we're at the table. This is private land, we know that. But we own 30%, we have 30% interest in this. So if you sell any, just make sure our 30% is in our bank account. So on the strike of the deal, our 30% go on this one.
Private land, but you own 30%. He even said this. So confused is this man.
At no point did the government own any land at the Southeast Peninsula. When the sugar cane lands were taken in the 1970s and paid for in the 1980s, the Southeast Peninsula was not included. I want to say that again. The Southeast Peninsula was not included. Hence, the land at the Southeast Peninsula was all private land. Private land. So I want to say that because there's some talk about government selling out land and so forth. I just want to make it clear that the government owned no land on the Southeast Peninsula. If it did, very, very little.
And that's what Team Unity tried to do. Claw 400 acres for the SIDF loan Buddy Darby refused to pay. And my straight dog family, we must recall as well, even though he says that you have 30%, but the audited reports show that KHT had $90 million debt, a $90 million debt. So how much does the SIDF own if it has 30%? Ask the muttering idiot. My straight dog family, based on what Terence Michael Jew said, that we own 30% of Christophe Harbor, then where is our share from the sale of the marina and the assets? How much has gone to the account, your account, or whichever account, or to whose account? The 30% has gone. The people need to know. So yes, he confessed he stopped the deal. He stopped 400 acres from going to the government.
Remember, if there are 2,500 acres, we own 30% of that. So I think we need to do some calculation. We're going to go through this together. So 2,500 times 30% is equal to 750 acres. But here was Timothy Harris making a deal just to give us 35 acres and leave. When 30% belongs to us, almost a third, which would equal to 750 acres. This is outrageous. That is why I had to stop the deal.
My straight dog family, Terence Michael July is such a muttering idiot that till this very day he is not aware that the deal he stopped was the transfer of 400 acres of land at Turtle Beach to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. What about the National Bank deal as well? Did he stop that one too? My Street Dog family, the National Bank went to the court. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. I always provide you the evidence, my Street Dog family. Claim number SKBHCV 2020/0013 between the St. Kitts, Nevis and Guyana National Bank applicant and KHT Land Holdings Limited. And what was the case? I posted the case before. That was the case presented by the bank in a nutshell. The evidence, my Street Dog family, it says, establish that Christophe Harbor defaulted on its obligation to repay the money owed to the bank. KHT pledged to supply or pledged the subject property, beg your pardon, to secure the payment of Christophe Harbor's debt after more than 6 years. The debt stands at almost as much as the amount lent, my Street Dog family. And I also gave you the information. I gave you lots of information to absorb tonight, my Street Dog family. But we have to provide the facts. And if you look at the background facts on your screen there, go to section 3 in the interest of time. It says the respondent KHT Landholders Limited, hereinafter, KHT is a registered proprietor of 433.45 acres of land at Turtle Beach, Salt Pond, in the parish of St. George in the southeast peninsula on the island. The subject property secured a loan offered to Christophe Harbor Development Company, hereinafter called Christophe Harbor, by the bank on the February 24, 2014. He didn't pay the bank 1 cent as well. And the order was on your screen as well, finally. What was the order? Based on the foregoing, I make the following orders. The upset price for the subject property is fixed at $25 million. The real estate firm Kasab and Associates is hereby appointed to conduct the sale. That was the order of the court. And my Street Dog family, what else can you say about Terence Michael Jew, except he stopped the bank too from getting back its 433 acres of land. He stopped the government from getting its 400 acres for SIDF and stopped the bank from getting back its 433 acres and its money. So under this man called Buddy Darby, the Social Security Board allowed Christophe Harbor to deduct wages from its employees and never matched its contributions and paid them into the Social Security Board. And could you imagine? They allowed Christophe Harbor, beg your pardon, to accumulate $4.5 million in debt to Social Security? How could that be? How could that be, my Street Dog family? Is the question we ask. That should not be allowed, but it was. My Street Dog family, it was under this July government. It was under this muttering idiot. And he comes back to tell us he got the $4.5 million for Social Security. Buddy Darby and others who at Christophe Harbor, just like Christopher Wilkin, should have been jailed. Should have been jailed by the Street Dog family. That's no question about that. Because they committed a crime according to the Social Security Act. But if they turn a blind eye and refuse to prosecute Garth Lucifer Wilkin, we shouldn't be surprised if they do not prosecute Buddy Darby and send him to jail. Not at all, my Straight Talk family. What has happened to the case that the National Bank brought? Was it buried by Terence Michael Drew? Or did Terence Michael Drew instruct the board of directors at the bank to forfeit 433 acres of land? Why has the bank failed to continue the fight for those 433 acres of land that were pledged as collateral? Someone is quietly moving the cheese behind closed doors. Is it the Prime Minister? The people are left in the dark, while the privileged few play monopoly with the nation's lands and its money. It's the people's cheese, Terence Michael Drew. It is our land, our money, our future. For the past 3 years, we have been governed by a leader who seems more interested in his own comfort and image than in serving the people who placed him in power. It is no secret that our Prime Minister has repeatedly demonstrated a reckless disregard for the public purse, my Straight Talk family. But as we wind down tonight's programming, I must say, our Prime Minister has shown a disdain for accountability. Time and time again, he has evaded questions from the media and the people. His responses are incoherent, often resorting to muttering and vague promises that never seem to have materialized, my Straight Talk family. What is the latest on the prison? Reads this email, and that's a good question. We understand that it is stalled. Our present leader needs help a lot. He abuses his position as the Prime Minister. He insults the intelligence of the population of St. Kitts and Nevis, and he has an unhealthy obsession with the former Prime Minister. It is difficult for sensible human beings to listen to him speak. We have seen him far too often, and he brings nothing of substance to us except to insult and belittle our intelligence. Let us pray for him and our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Lord help, reads this email. Good night, Patches. The lady that does the quotation is, she's the same lady who used to call Mark Brantley's show with the quotations as well. Just asking. Well, that's a question beyond me. Why is Prime Minister Drew so obsessed with Timothy? He failed to call out Douglas, who ain't have no use for him. Leave Tim alone, Dr. Drew reads this email. And those are my emails tonight, my Straight Talk family. And as we wind down tonight's programming, we must conclude that we've had enough of Terence Michael July. And we do have concurrence in that view. The path forward begins with a demand for action. It is time to hold our Prime Minister accountable for his actions. A comprehensive investigation into misuse of funds is needed. There should be full transparency about where taxpayers' monies has gone. Public accountability mechanisms are required. My Straight Talk family, he needs to resign. The road ahead will not be easy. It will require courage. It will require unity. My Straight Talk family, it's time for a change in direction. It is time for us to rise above this era of poor leadership and demand that those in power be held accountable for their actions. For too long, we have watched the Prime Minister as he's failed us, both in his actions and his words. Time and time again, his behavior has demonstrated an utter disregard for the people who place their trust in him. We have a Prime Minister who has become a muttering figurehead, a leader who seems incapable of articulating a clear vision or engaging in a coherent conversation with the public. The people deserve better. My Straight Talk family, we deserve plenty better. Your time is up, Terence Michael Drew. You have lost the trust of the people. You have failed to show leadership. You have failed to listen. And you have failed to put the needs of the people above your own comfort. You have misled, ignored, and betrayed the people. And now it's time for you to step aside. Prime Minister, we can no longer tolerate you, Mr. Drew, the muttering idiot. And we need our 30% that's missing. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I will thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you, the many listeners, the many viewers, those who have sent emails, and those of you who have called, and those of you who just sat back with your cocktails and had a good time and absorbed the information that we bring to you each time. Just remember that all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spirit, we will connect next Thursday. Hear this. We will connect next Thursday, because come Monday, it's a holiday with Monday. So we'll take a sabbatical, relax, go to the beach, have some fun, do whatever pleases you, my Straight Talk family. But just remember, until we come next Thursday, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect next Thursday. Be good to yourselves.